Back for some more standing waves. Second common type of standing wave problem is when you have a fixed frequency sound wave and you got a straw or something like that being inserted into more and more water, so the length of the air column in the straw changes. And the question is usually something like, well, how far does the straw need to get into the water to, set up a standing wave? So let's look at some example of numbers for this type of question. So we have a speaker or a tone generator generating 512 Hertz frequency sound waves. How far does the straw need to go into the water to set up a standing wave? Step one, let's solve for the wavelength of my 512 Hertz sound wave. So we get our wavelength of the sound wave is 66 centimeters. We then need to determine what type of standing wave will be set up in our straw. Straws are open at both ends. However, as the straw is inserted into the water, the end where the water is actually becomes a closed end. So we end up with this scenario where the solutions are 1/4 of a wavelength, 3/4, 5/4, 7/4, and 9/4. So let's figure out how far I need to put the straw in to set up the first standing wave. So we notice the length of the straw is actually less than the wavelength of the sound wave. That means we can only set up less than one wavelength inside our straw, which means the solutions must only be 1/4 and perhaps 3/4, but we've got to solve to figure it out. So we end up with two possible solutions that are less than the length of the straw. What you need to keep in mind is that these are actually the length of the air column of the straw, not the part of the straw that's inside the water itself. So if I've got a 50 centimeter straw and the length of the air column is 49.8 centimeters, that means that the straw is only inserted 0.2 centimeters into the water to make the standing wave arise. And likewise, the second solution is set up when the length of the air column is 16.6 centimeters. That means the straw is 33.4 centimeters into the water. Easy peasy. Got you some extra marks.